The Wing Chun system is unlike all other martial arts systems. Finding common ground with other martial arts, you must be careful that you are not becoming all other systems, because Wing Chun is unique. And one of the unique features of Wing Chun is the Bong Sau movement. The primary Wing Chun pattern is based on the Fook SAu, which holds something on the inside, and the Tan Sau, which holds something on the outside. So contact out here, if it comes on the inside, it can go like this. If it goes on the outside, it could go like this. And the first move of the WT Wing Chun comes out into crossed Tan Sau, one of our first Tan Sau positions. It's a hand distance out, fist distance at the side. It makes this angle right here. And this angle in the arm, then, is a definition move for all of our arm positions. So if I produce cross Tan Sau, and then I turn this one into a Fook SAu, it'll be over here, of course. Covering, attack comes into my center, and I bend my arm over. Attack comes into my center, and if I'm not strong enough to go to our parallel Tan Saus, I will push myself into a 45-degree turn, and this is a 45-degree angle. If I make a 45-degree turn, my Tan Sau is now lined up. This is the fundamental of WT, because everybody is split down the middle. So by standing in front of somebody, I can split them down the middle. So the bilateral symmetry is automatic, and the only thing I have to decide is our height difference, and I can aim my centerline theory on their height. So if they're taller, I aim up. If they're shorter, I aim down. If I stay square, the split down the middle is automatic. Now if I turn sideways, now I have this flank, and if I turn too far, my back is exposed to curved attacks. So by turning this way, I only have to deal with my front surface. I have very thin sides, very thin, no pot belly, very thin, and so curved attacks have to get me here. If I step forward, the place where the curve was trying to get is now behind me. So I really, with forward step, forward penetration, eliminate the aim of the curve. Fundamental, sorry I gotta review this stuff. So, now that I've defined, I'm going forward with this cross position. I make it, if I stick one hand farther out, my Wng Sau is defined by this angle, and by sending it out, punch, Wng Sau comes forward. That's our second part of defining the Bong Sau. The Wng Sau definition is not a static position here by the chin. It's not a block like this, like in boxing. It is a open hand that moves out. So each time I send a Wng Sau out, it is seeking contact. It may end up making contact with Buchi fingers. It may end up becoming a palm strike. It may end up turning into a punch. So we use chain punching so that we don't poke people with our fingers unless we want to. So the Wng Sau defines as, oh, must be true, something honked. The Wng Sau is defined as moving in this direction. And then as the Wng Sau reaches its terminus, it becomes a Man Sau. So this moment when your Wng Sau moving forward makes contact along this path, it becomes a Man Sau. Many martial arts only have static blocking positions, so they say Wng Sau is like this, Man Sau is like this. But for the second premise, we're defining these things as in motion, and they can remain in their shape. So if it has to act in this, if it acts in this rear portion, it's still acting as a Wng Sau. If it acts in this forward portion, it's acting as a Man Sau. So if we take the cross position and we stick our hands out, to the Man Sau distance, our arm is in a shape. And if I rotate that shape over to the side, it becomes our side Tan Sau, which we call parallel Tan Saus when they're both up, rotated in. So this is double Man Sau. The wrists cross, so put them together. Right, the hands come together. And then if I rotate it this way, it's a Tan Sau. So let's say I'm stepping in to punch. This is a Man Sau shape, and it rotates over to become the Tan Sau. But it's really just a Man Sau rotating over. This gives us that efficiency concept that I am not actually even changing my arm geometry at all. I'm only rotating my shoulder. My shoulder has the most flexibility because it can rotate. I keep my elbow as it comes out. It seeks to just push forward, stick with what comes with that pressure from the Wng Sau trying to come forward, and it rotates. And by standing like this, the majority of my contact moving in a straight line is going to be in this Tan Sau defense. Now if I'm punching a little farther out, there is a spot right in here. So I have to be ready for energy on the inside, which drops into our Wng Sau concept. If it's over pressuring me, I will step backwards and let that energy go by. From the side, I get a Wng Sau, and as it's pressuring me, I can turn. So we get into our Fook SAu concept. The Fook SAu is the root of our Wng Sau, and the Fook SAu hooks over the top. As energy is coming up, the Wng Sau might let it slip around. The Fook SAu makes it catch on a hook, and to get around the hook, the hand has to come much farther out, not going to hit my chin anymore. And it guarantees, if I'm like this and it's slipping by, my Fook SAu is going to catch it, and again, I will use that turn to ride it. I'm not going to get into our turning geometry, but it is also different than the WC turning geometry. So that brings us to review. I've covered going forward, and you can see a Pak Sau in here if you like. So I can send Wng Saus out to Pak Sau with that slapping contact. I can stick with forward energy and turn and press down. The second move in the WT first form is the low block. I have to see that, so I come out and I see something and I send my hand down. That's our first non-contact move, and I'm going to double it with a Wng Sau over the top. Turn again. It's where the attack was at my stomach, and I've moved out of the way. Right? So let's get to our Bong Sau. The question of the day: if my Man Sau can rotate this way to affect a tan, if I rotate my Man Sau this way, it affects the Bong Sau shape. So it's a punch that rolls over like this, and it is defined in the static form as flat on the top, parallel to the ground, and that line points at my own shoulder in the mirror, points at my enemy's shoulder, and then this hand is going across. If we look from it's a 45-degree angle right there, 45-degree angle right here. It goes down to the belt line under pressure. I have to pull it myself, and then I could turn, and again the attack on the straight line is going to turn me, and then it's going to spring back. Airplane coming over. Iron Dog Jim. It's got to be true when an airplane flies over in one of my videos. I agree. So here's where people got the question wrong. When I rotate a Bong Sau in a static position, just me, static, no energy coming in, I can line it up in a square, going across the cube to the bottom opposite corner. And in this way, the Tan Saus are on the edges, holding up the top. The Gan Sau are on the edges, cutting the bottom. The Fook SAu is across the sides. The Fook SAu Wng Sau is across the side. Chum Sau can cross from the bottom to the opposite top, so I need something that crosses from the back to the opposite bottom. And you can see it in the WT first move. We do an inner rotation, and there's where the start of the Bong Sau is even defined. I go for this, I get pressure, I roll it back around to the double Wng Sau and out. So it's defined right there in the first segment of our Tsun Tao form. But the problem is, when dealing with an energy from an opponent, this is not a very strong move. So it is not a upward karate block. I do not have to push the energy above my head. In Wing Chun, we have a Lan Sau, which I could push to send energy above my head, but it is not, it's back like this. So maybe I do a Bong Sau and it gets collapsed, I could push it up. It is not a sideways block, but many people do a Bong Sau and their elbow is out. So if you look from above, the elbow angle is pointed out this way. And they put this energy up like this, and my shoulder to elbow line is pointed to the sides. This is wrong. It doesn't work. I can't roll it to the side. There's not enough strength here. It's too short of a distance. When I roll my elbow to the side, it's not long enough. I need to be sending my humerus bone out and my forearm out. I need that contact way out here. When my arm bends to go to the side, they get closer. I have to then sidestep. I have to do a move with that. And that breaks one of our rules, that I'm trying to punch and stay straight, and it's only their energy that turns me. So I have to have it lined up, at least with my shoulder. And if we line up, I'll use this hand to do it. If there's a punch aimed at my face, when I roll, that punch is now aimed to my side. So with a very straight attack, it will roll to the side. But if it is compensated, maybe there are other reasons they may compensate and change their direction, then I have to bring my elbow over to push that and ensure that it's way over to the side. Primary, and then my elbow over. If you look at a turn, it moved my elbow over as well. Leave the elbow in the same spot, turn back behind it. So the turn with Bong Sau moves the elbow over square position. But once I've captured them, I could turn with my humerus bone. This is important because later we fold up with a Bucci elbow. I catch you, I fold my elbow over and I grab it to do my elbow or to strike. And then it's important from the whole time, because when I straighten my arm out, it's going to go from shoulder to elbow to target. So if my Bong Sau goes like this and I straighten my arm out, it's off target. So again, I have to turn my body in order to get that hit. And now I violated the profile rule, because now I've exposed my flank to straight attacks and I've exposed my spine to curved attacks, which violates the whole engineered design of why we're doing stuff differently. Make sense? So next up, with the shape of the Bong Sau, if we take it back to the Man Sau rule, Man Sau in the Chum Q form of WT, and everybody else, we have the low Man Saus. And as we discussed, the Gan Saus is a visual move. So I see something, I visually send a Gan Sau out, and then it rolls on the bottom side. So that's a Bong upside down, or as we say, Man Sau. I could just send it out to use this inquisitive surface, the opposite of the Bong Sau surface on the inside. Sometimes from up here, I feel that energy and I turn this way. We call that a Cow Sau, but that is very hard to do. It has to be built on all these other fundamentals, so it doesn't even occur as its own movement until the fourth form. But it is actually hidden right in here. In Tsun Tao, that is a Cow Sau move. and you just raise your arm up to get something out of the way. So if I move, there'd be an arm in the way trapped here, so I raise my arm up to let it go, and I pin it out here. Sorry, I just digress. So Bong Sau, I turn this way, contact on the top. Cow Sau, the energy's on the inside, I turn this way, bong upside down. Again, the redundancy, creating the efficiency, it's all based on coming out. Jump Sau to Cow Sau is on the inside. Tan Sau to Tan Sau turn on the outside. Tan Sau to Bong Sau is for energy that goes across. Alright? That means the Bong Sau is like the Wu Sau in that it's starting out going forward, it's being rolled over and turning into something else, right? It's going into this. So it is a transition. It is half a move because it either starts as something else and holds for this, or it is the start and this is the other half. What were some of the other points? Ah, yes, more airplanes. There's something called Quan Sau, Kun Sau, Quan Sau, and it is this double move. So if we take our first move, Tsun and Tao, and we sing it in rounds, it's a Bong Sau going low, and the Wu Sau or Tan Sau remaining up high. So when I do this motion, I can stick with some pressure right here and move somebody down.